What's up, fam? Hope everybody's doing fantastic out there. Today we are going to have a little bit of a longer video. As you can see here, we have 4 budget bangers from Kizer. Now, as the title suggests, these all are discontinued models. At the time of filming, they are all still available. You can still get each and every one of these. So get them while you can, because once they're gone, they're gone. So again, these are all discontinued. These are all extreme budget knives. All of them, with the exception of one, all of them are $50 or less. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll start with the cheapest and just work our way up. So in no particular order. Oh, no particular. Listen, I just said the order. No particular. Golly. Anyway, again, starting from the cheapest, working our way up. Let's just go ahead and jump into these and get these boxes out of the way and just jump into these knives. So number one here is going to be the kind of the most unique out of the bunch here. So this is the Kizer Pinch. 3.04 inch blade, 6.9 inches overall, and only 2.96 ounces. And you'll see here, it is a double detent. So a non-locking double detent fidget monster. These things are really fun to fidget with. This is a knife that I had picked up to do a kind of a traditional Tuesday video on, as kind of just a non-locking knife, and just ended up not. It ended up just sitting over here, and it kind of kept getting pushed to the wayside. And so now I figured, with it being discontinued, and it was discontinued when I bought it. But I figured now, with doing this video, this would kind of fit in perfectly with this video. N690 blade steel on this guy, so really nice, very capable blade steel. Really nice red micarta on it, but price tag on these are anywhere between $35 and $40, depending on where you get them at. I think right now on the Kizer website, it just depends on which color you get. I think there are 2 colors available, but yeah, 35 to 40 bucks. A really fun fidgety knife. Of course, you can just pinch and pull it, but if you are good enough with a reverse flick, this is a very good fuller. So it's really nice and sharp. You can get in there and just get your the meat of your finger on that fuller and flick it out. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the close-ups here. Take a look at this knife up close and personal. Again, red micarta, really nicely done. Kizer does a great job with their micarta. Kind of almost a fluffy micarta, if you will. Looks like we have T6 and T8 hardware. Reversible pocket clip. Pocket clip's not deep carry. We'll show that here in just a minute. A really unusual backspacer. It has jimping here on the bottom of the knife. I'm not sure what that's for or why they would do that as a design choice. Kind of looks like a little mohawk there at the bottom of the knife. Open pillar otherwise. It is, like I said, a little tiny little backspacer. Again, your pocket clip is a standard, just a non-deep carry pocket clip. Steel pocket clip. Old school Kizer looking. But it does give you a little something to grab a hold of when you're pulling a knife out of your pocket. No real issues there. And then there is that, again, that stonewash blade. You got that really nice fuller there. Really well done knife. And straight back blade here with almost looks like a Scandinavian grind almost, because it's such a short grind here. But you do have a secondary bevel, but your primary bevel is very low. So the knife isn't the sliciest thing in the world, but it does perform because, I mean, it's a Kizer, it's sharp. But again, it's not going to be uber slicey just because of the height there, that thickness behind the edge. Plunge grind is, yeah, it's a plunge grind. It's not great, and there's no sharpening choil, so you're automatically getting a smile on the knife. Sharpening looks to be okay. I don't see any issues there except for the tip. Looks like there might be a little bit of a issue there at the tip. We'll zoom in on that here in just a second. Let's take a look at that tip now. It looks like the tip is blunted slightly. It's just not sharpened all the way there, so you can see that. So a bit of a miss there from the QC folks at Kizer. That's a kind of a rare miss as far as I'm concerned. I haven't had many issues with them, but you can see there that tip is just not defined at all. No worries on my end. I mean, again, I think I may have paid $20 for this knife, if that, when it was on like some sort of crazy sale. So, and there is your information. Is the pinch from Rolf Helbig. Typical Kizer branding. Stonewash blade, like I said, really nice looking knife. Very attractive, just kind of a simple, blade design. This is definitely one where you're always going to want to use that 50-50 grip, where you're not putting more than 50% of your thumb over the blade, because again, it's a non-locking knife, so you always want to be wary of that. Yeah, I would use this in the same way I would use like a friction folder or something along those lines. In no way, shape, or form in any kind of hard or heavy use. Perfect for like letter openers, typical package opening and whatnot. And then of course, as long as you're used to it, if you're used to like a traditional blade and things like that, you can certainly use this knife for more than that. But if you're not used to a non-locking knife, I would definitely be careful with what you're doing with it. So yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, it feels great in the hand. No hot spots, no nothing. It's just right on that small side for me. So right on that bottom end of what is readily comfortable and an everyday carry knife. And then if you go into that 50-50 grip there, where you're actually going to really use the knife, you are kind of just crowded up. You're right there on the cusp of being too small. But again, they've done well. They've done well on the design here, so no real issues there whatsoever. All right, so that is the Pinch. Again, 35 to 40 bucks on this guy. Really great budget banger. Next one on the lineup is one that I actually received in from Loot, Mr. Mark Perez, New Breed EDC. This was I think this was a channel member giveaway or a regular giveaway, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is one that I had never messed with, and I've been sitting on it since that giveaway, so it's been a little while. And yeah, I was pretty impressed with this little guy. It's definitely not my cup of tea as far as looks or anything go, but it is a very functional front flipper and a really kind of interesting looking blade. So this is the Squidward. Looking at a 2.8-inch blade. So for all those folks with length requirements, this definitely will fall in that. 6.77 overall. And again, a super lightweight knife, coming in at only 2.5 ounces. And again, another super cheap knife, 40 bucks for 154 cm and G10. A crazy deal on this knife. Front flipper works pretty well. It's a little tricky for me just because of having my issues with mobility on my thumb, but rolls over really well. Liner lock access is incredible on this knife. Really weird stuff going on, but we'll talk about all that. Let's go ahead and zoom in on this one here. So you've got the white pivot collars there. It'd be cool to see those dyed up a different color, maybe blue, and get a little blue and black going on. Again, G10 here, reversible pocket clip, and you have this massive lanyard ring, which really throws me off. I think if this knife didn't have that, it would look much better. So if this were one I was planning on keeping, I would snip that off, take this thing to a grinder and or to a belt sander, and just get rid of that altogether. But and then because especially since you have a lanyard pin right here, so I don't understand. That's where I was talking about, kind of design cue that just throws me off, because you have this lanyard pin that is really no other use other than a lanyard pin. I mean, a standoff, but of course, but it's a lanyard pin. It can be easily used for that. Even the main barrel spacer here could be used as a lanyard pin. The blade would barely contact it, if at all. So again, that just doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what it is about it, other than just the fact that it's pointless. Old school Kizer pocket clip, not too shabby there. It's got a little bit of a flare in it. T6, T8 hardware. It is not inset, but the screws are. Jimping for days on this blade, which is kind of funny. You got a clip point here with a swedge. Typical Kizer branding for this time. And this is a ISO design. Plunge grind is bad, but it's not the worst we've ever seen. So taking a look here at the sharpening, looks like we've got again another kind of off tip here, but we'll check that. And actually, it looks better on this side, so it might be okay. It just looks a little interesting there. Let's see. Let's get rid of this gunk on the. Looks like some tape residue or something there. Hold on just a second. I can't get it off, but tip actually looks to be fairly straight. Got just a little bit of the coating or something there where it was sharpened, but it looks pretty good. I've seen worse for sure. Yeah, I'd say that's passing. Blade, of course, feels great. You know, no issues with the sharpness. It's from Kizer. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. Well, actually, you know what? Let me zoom back in here so you can see that. There's that liner lock access. Just phenomenal. Lockup is phenomenal on this thing. Centering is great. But I love how they did that liner access. I do wish that this was chamfered just a little bit, but I mean, come on, it's a $40 knife. I'm not really expecting, you know, too much, but it's a nice lightweight liner, so no issues there. But again, just a little bit of chamfering on that lock bar access, on that lock bar will just make that even better. Yeah, really cool knife. It's a straightforward handle, so no issues in the ergonomics department. I mean, you're holding a stick basically. Jimping on the top is pretty functional. No issues there. This is a very small, kind of meant to be a backup knife, I think, or a gentleman's folder in that kind of aspect. And I really don't have any issues with it other than that weird lanyard spot on the bottom of the knife. So yeah, pretty cool little knife. This is the kind of the last of the weirder ones, but this one is you know, a one that I think a lot of people have shied away from for whatever reason, but it's a really cool knife. I just, like I said, I just wish it had a few little minor tweaks to it, and I think it would be great. Next one here is a knife that I think is only being discontinued because either they're bringing up a new model or a new version, or they're they're just tired of this specific model. But this is the BE.EDC.NC 2, the button lock version. So I have had one of these knives in the past. I had a more premium version with I believe it was 20 CV, and it had snake. I think they called it gold snake camo carbon or something like that, or fat carbon, excuse me. Really good knife. This is one that is a kind of a classic from Kizer. I think this is they're just kind of making way for their new designs. I do like the liner lock version of this knife better, just because it doesn't have some of the issues that this one has. And this one I'm sure would break in a little bit, but I need to take it apart and clean it. We do have some button stick, more than what I typically like. But again, this knife is pretty fresh right out of the box. It does have a nice ring to it. Let's see if we can get it to do that again. It's not wanting to do it constantly, but yeah, anyway, Kizer BE.EDC.NC. BE.EDC.NC 2, nothing out of the ordinary here. You guys are probably familiar with this knife, but you may not be familiar with the fact that it is discontinued. So specs on it: 3.39 inches, 7.84 overall, 3.33 ounces. So again, that perfect weight ratio. 154 cm, of course, and these things are going for like $50. So a great deal on this knife. I do wish the blade retention was a little better for the reverse flick. It works really well for the thumb flick though. So this thing thumb flicks like really well, and it's super fidgety when you are using the thumb, just because it's like, I mean, everything's just right there. So no issues with that. Again, I would like to take it apart, clean it up before I send it on its way, just to make sure that it doesn't have any major issues with that button stick. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this thing up close and personal. Really nice micarta. I love this micarta from Kizer. We're actually going to see another knife with it here in just a second. It's kind of its brother that came in on a mystery pack that I did. So flat slab-sided scales. You do have a little bit of shadow boxing going on here. Typical stuff from Kizer. Nothing breaking any molds. Lanyard love there. You got a very substantial lanyard hole. A standard steel pocket clip. You do have Kizer branding right there on the pocket clip. I actually do like that. I wish more brands would do that pocket clip branding. Some people hate it. I love it. Personally, I would rather have it on the pocket clip than on the blade. Flat screws, not inset liner, or excuse me, not inset pocket clip. Really nicely done thumb studs. Kizer does a great job with their thumb studs most of the time. So this is a newer version, so it does have only the Kizer brand there, just the name Kizer. It doesn't have the logo. And then on the back side, you have the AZO BE.EDC.NC 2 154 cm. Again, kind of a lazy plunge grind. You do have a sharpening choil there, but you know, it doesn't help to have a sharpening choil if the plunge grind is lazy. Sharpening looks to be good. Tip is perfect. Yeah, I really like this knife. I do like having the jimping right there on the bottom of the knife. It gives you that good purchase for when you do choke up on the knife. It does give you kind of a tactile feel there. Jimping, really nice jimping that runs all the way across the back of the knife, or runs almost all the way across the spine of the knife. I have stated a lot that Kizer does jimping very well as long as they're not doing it on their flippers. Kizer flippers have notoriously bad jimping. But then everywhere else, they do a really good job on their jimping. Again, Beg Glider 2, nothing unusual here. It is a well done knife. It feels great in the hand. It's a great design from Azo. He's an amazing designer, and this is one that is no exception. Pocket clip's done well. It's in the right spot. Doesn't hit your hand wrong. Again, good jimping on the back of the knife. You do have that choke up spot here if you want to use it. And so you can come up on the blade here. Again, really great job on this knife. I hate to see the Beg Glider go, but I do understand that they do have to make way for their new models. And there's a lot of new stuff coming from Kizer. I'm sure most of you guys have already been seeing things about like the Silver Wing and the more premium versions of the Mini Momo. So really interesting stuff. I look forward to seeing what they have showing at Blade Show this year. But yeah. Awesome knife. Again, $50. Really can't beat that. On to the last one here. So this is one that I'm actually planning on keeping. You guys know I'm kind of going away from the budget stuff in my collection for the most part, but there's ones that are just kind of cool enough or just different enough that I want to hang on to for a little while. This is one of them. So again, we have that matching micarta. Sorry, this is the Kizer Clipper. Again, you have that kind of matching micarta here. Really nice paper micarta, it feels like. Excuse me, not paper micarta. It almost feels like a denim micarta. There we go. 3.15 inches on the blade length, 7.26 overall. And again, 2.6 ounces. Super, super lightweight on this knife for having a over a 3-inch blade. And this thing front flips really well. And you can actually get in there and reverse flick off of the blade, which is really nice. I love that. So it gives me a little bit of a multi deployment method without being too obvious. So I do enjoy that. Front flipper is done very well. It's minimum without having too much going on, and the detent is just light enough to make it all work. Fantastic job on this knife. If they're all like this, I have no idea why this knife is discontinued. It must just not be selling well. Yeah, it is an unusual looking knife, but God, is it good. I guess if people just could get it in their hands, then they would understand. And this is one that it was never really on my radar, so that makes sense. But it's really, 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 really good. Really well done. But yeah, so again, 154 cm, $60. Kizer Clipper. Let's go ahead and jump into the close-ups here. We're encroaching on a 20-minute video. We'll get this done quickly for you guys. Really nice micarta. Again, I love this micarta. Got some nice chamfers around the edges. Contouring, not contoured, no, so it's flat-sided. But again, nice chamfered edges. You do have a lefty love there. T6 to T8 hardware again. A unique pocket clip from Kizer. This one does work very, very well. I actually prefer this type of pocket clip anyway. Again, just really nicely done. Jimping and everything on the flipper is done very well. Again, there you can have that just enough of that blade to get into to flick it out there. So speaking of this blade, you got a little bit of a harpoon there on this modified sheep's foot. Swedge there. This is old school Kizer, so you've got the old school branding. And there's your designer information. And that is hold on a minute. Tim Kingsford. I remember it's King something or another. So yeah, Tim Kingsford design. Very interesting design. I would actually like to see more of his stuff. I'll have to check him out some more. Plunge grind is done better on this one, so you do have a little bit of room for sharpening, but it's still without a sharpening choil there. You don't have a ton of room. Sharpening itself is done well. Perfect there. Lockup is good. Centering is good. So yeah, this is one, like I said, this is one I plan on keeping just because I do like it, how unique it is. I do like the opening methods work really well. The the finger roll there works great. The thumb flick actually works really well on this one for me. I don't know why it works so much better than some of the others I've dealt with, but it does. And like I said, I love having the reverse flick off of that blade there. I think that's an awesome little addition to this knife. Ergonomics are great. It's just, I mean, it's you're holding on to a stick, so yeah, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but nothing that's going to cause any issues. Liner lock access is phenomenal, and you've actually got a little bit of chamfering there on the lock bar itself, so nothing crazy, but again, just enough there to make it noticeable that you have it. Again, just everything about this knife works really well, so quite impressive, and I'm really sad to see this one go, but you know, it is what it is. I'm glad I was able to get a hold of one. Go ahead and take a look at our hardware on these knives really quickly, and then we'll let you guys get out of here. Pivot was a little loose on that, but hardware there is great. Let's go ahead and set the knives out here and check our beg lighter. I think these are all T6 and T8, yeah. Just a little bit of wiggle there, nothing crazy. Very minimum hardware on this one. A little bit of wiggle on that pivot. Again, nothing out of the ordinary. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one here. Pocket screws were done really well. Yeah, great job. Kizer usually does a really good job with their hardware. So yeah, these are some really cool knives that you will not be able to get forever. So if you like them, jump on them now while you can. Anyway, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. As always, please remember to be kind, be humble, and be EDC. Y'all take care.